Hello, love. Welcome home to Eden. So here we are in a magical new dimension. For me, it's really different as I'm experiencing having really entered my ascension in a new process of experiencing it as actual, as not potential, but as something that's happening. So I want to help you into your ascension integration. You're probably in your ascension already. It's already happening because it's happening to all of us. And you just need to integrate some of the intensity of it, or maybe the new flow that's just so easy and graceful. And you're like, is this okay? So first thing to help you, along with offering Ascension Integration Coaching, which you can get from me personally at lovelifewitheve@gmail.com, and we'll connect about that. But I'm going over misconceptions about what ascension really feels like. So there's this idea that when you become really spiritual and really integrated, that it won't be sexual. Spiritual, not sexual. That you'll be a monk who doesn't need sex anymore, who doesn't have sexual energy running anymore, and that will be the sign of your high state of being. Well, that's a misconception from my standpoint, and I don't want to pretend to be like I'm the guru who knows everything. I just, from my own experiential place of feeling really high, and without using any substances at all. Since I came out of my Bufo initiation, as usual, I'm just a person who doesn't even drink beer or anything. You know, I'm just in my center, in myself, but I feel this truth that spiritual, not sexual, is not actually a higher elevation of our beingness. Spiritual and sexual integrated is the new level we are ascending into, that we are awakening into. So for years it's been that we could not actually experience our spirituality without separating ourselves from carnal desire, from sensual, lustful enjoyment, that would always, if we went there, it would bring us into this place that was in the root chakra area and not connected with our heart, spirits, minds. So the new sexuality from your ascended place will be very embodied. It will be very blissed out. It will be very sensual. It will be very tactile. But the difference is, instead of being without heart, being able to just be that lustful being who's just taking and using and then exhausting yourself, you will get very energized from your sexuality, because it will be very connected to your heart and your spirit and the other person, the other being, and some other things that are being exchanged besides just physical pleasure. Fine vibrations of actual love circulating between you, actual life force being felt as both physical, emotional, and spiritual and intellectual all at once. All of your chakras exchanging in this tantric way. So spiritual, not sexual, is the old paradigm for finding your spiritual way, and now it is spiritual and sexual totally integrated as one. That will be a sign of your ascension integration really going on. And you'll even feel it without a partner. You'll feel that your sexuality is moving in your body, is responding to the hummingbirds and the flowers around you. I mean, we already know that in general, this is the way women's brains are hooked up. The book Sex at Dawn talks about the experiment where they hook up men's brains to see what images actually make their genitals swell up, respond. Hook up their genitals and their brains to the pictures that they're seeing. And for men, in general, it's basically sexual images of people getting it on. And if they're gay, it's gay guys getting it on. If they're straight, it's women. But we know that the women's brain when they did the experiment on women, it was just like flowers turned them on, babies turned them on, the wind turns them on, like their genitals are responding at all times to the whole world. But this is the thing, our feminine empowerment, embodiment is waking up now. We've had millennia that's been about the masculine, all this technology the masculine has created, but now we're awakening the feminine. It means men too, their brains, your brains, are going to be hooking into all dimensions at once, to the turn on in all things, and to another level of why you want sex, and how that is so spiritual, and how it's not, because it's been this thing about the sexuality is evil and it's the women's domain, really, and they're going to lead you away from God, and then you'll be in your carnal desire, and you'll be exhausted and depleted. And this has all pretty much been true for the centuries of humanity. But in the new paradigm of the Ascension awakening, you figure out how to do semen retention. You figure out that that process of, you press on the vein below the balls, and first you do it manually, and then you do it without having to touch yourself. You can already control your ejaculation, and now you're not having to expend your seed to be sexual for many hours even, because it becomes this tantric spiritual experience where your release is spiritual. So this is a really exciting domain. This is a really exciting truth. Spiritual, not sexual, is a misconception of ascension. So let's get into spiritual and sexuality uniting. And contact me if you're having an amazing time with your ascension integrating, or a rough time. Either way, I'll take you through 12 weeks of a really beautiful process to make sure that you make it through, all the way through into your ascension integration, at lovelifewitheve@gmail.com.